Yo. Hey yo. Whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa. Yo. Whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa. Very interesting. Very interesting. Hey, Fabby. Good morning on this beautiful Sunday morning. We are alive. Speak your mind. We alive. Yeah. Speak your mind. Yeah. As you can see, I got two windows. This is the main window. And then I got my Twitch window. What do you think of the Twitch window? I created this. I think it looks cool. I've seen a lot of Twitch streamers. They have the horizontal webcam window setup. But then I saw this one streamer. She had it vertical like this. And it really stood out to me. So I played around with the settings and I'm testing out this new box. I think it looks cool because it gets more of your face in the picture. I think versus like the horizontal box. I like it so far, and it shows more of the screen real estate, I think. So it's Sunday morning here. Just thought I'd check in on you guys, see how everyone is. If you have any questions, please ask. Any questions, please ask. Please ask. Please ask nicely. Please ask nicely. And nicely. Yesterday, we did the same thing. We had this live stream. Can't get organic beet juice in my country easily. Does ABC juice work the same? You don't need organic. You can just add orange juice if you wanted, just a splash of it. Here's the problem with orange juice. If you drink orange juice, just a cup of orange juice, there's a lot of sugar in it. Same with carrot juice, same with apple juice, same with whatever juice you choose. So what I recommend is that, like in this, you probably know what this is. I use a splash of beet juice, a splash of apple cider vinegar, and then 3 teaspoons of lemon juice. Okay, so the beet juice is just to mask the sharpness of the lemon and the apple cider vinegar. So it balances everything out evenly. So I tried chugging a whole glass of beet juice and it was just killed my insides. Orange juice, I feel like it's too sugary, too sweet. Too sweet. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing. So go for whatever juice you like. They all work. They all work. Uh, it's is it the most important? No, it's not the most important. Actually, the lemon is the most important. So the lemon juice is there to reset your system. You just think of the lemon juice as just cleaning your insides. Apple cider vinegar, if it's just like adding gasoline to the fire, it just accelerates that fat burning and energy producing component of the lemon juice. You ever notice that when you go to a restaurant and some restaurants they serve you like water with lemon slices in it? When you drink that versus just normal water, don't you feel like a little like a kick of energy? I do. It just boom, wakes you up. And just it feels good. It's burning. It's cleaning your insides. Fat burning. Very good. That's what I noticed. So yeah, all three are important ingredients, but lemon juice is the most important, I would say, first and foremost. So I'm going to switch to desktop. Here, can you see that? And this is one of my favorite YouTubers in the MMA sphere.
Hi, it's Ramsey Dewey over here in Shanghai, China. Welcome to another edition of Q&A with the Coach. Today our question comes from Kovu23. He says, "Hey Ramsey, can you make a video about overtraining and the optimal amount of training for an MMA fighter or a combat sports athlete? And is it better for martial artists to do for conditioning, weightlifting, calisthenics, or strongman training, or a mix of all?" The optimal amount of training, I'm going to get straight to it. Keep it short and keep it sweet. Being a professional fighter does not mean training all day long. It means training in fairly short intervals consistently.
Mm-hmm.
So in my opinion, the best training regimen for a professional fighter, assuming that you already know how to fight, assuming that you already know the basics of striking and grappling and putting them together, one session that focuses on technique and sparring, and one session that focuses on strength and conditioning.
I agree.
And as far as strength and conditioning goes, make sure that the movements you use are applicable to fight training. So, calisthenics, powerlifting, strongman,
Okay, so he's right. There's techniques and striking, which can be taught in a class. But strength and conditioning you can do on your own time. Is what I recommend. What I don't like is these boxer size classes that mix both together. I don't need to attend a class, whether it's a CrossFit class or aerobics class or a yoga class, in order to get my strength and conditioning done. I do that on my own time. I run during my own time. I lift weights on my own time. I do ab work on my own time. I stretch on my own time. I don't need to do it in a group setting. That's the problem. I was at a boxercise club. I was at a boxing club a few days ago. A new boxing club I tried out. The first hour was all strength and conditioning. It was just aerobics, just moving your arms, stretching, ab work, and all that. I thought it was just so silly because everyone's attuned to their own rhythm. So just do it on your own time. What you come to the class for is to do the mitt work, right, with a partner or a trainer, or sparring with a partner, and all that. So I think more clubs should separate the two. And yeah, you don't have to train all day in MMA or boxing or whatever. You can train for an hour and get as much done within that hour versus training like 6 or 7 hours. Some people do, and like for example, Thailand. So you can train for like an hour in the morning, an hour at night. That would be enough if you train intensely.
Some good stuff from all of those disciplines that can transfer over to fight training. I would say the most important things you need to focus on in strength and conditioning as far as lifts goes: squats, deadlifts, and pull-ups. So whoa, look at that. We're combining calisthenics and powerlifting. Squats, deadlifts, why those are the big postural lifts. Those ones transfer directly to fighting. And yeah, there is an upper echelon, threshold, whatever. I'm blanking on the word I need to use right now. There is an upper limit. That's what I want. An upper limit of how much that squat or that deadlift is going to affect your performance. If you can deadlift 1,000 pounds versus deadlifting 700 pounds, well, you should probably become a professional strongman competitor. And maybe not worry so much about cage fighting. But improving your posture, that is huge. And when I say posture, the first thing everybody does is pull their shoulders back, stick their chin up in the air. That's not what I'm talking about. Being able to align your head, neck, spine, and tailbone under pressure. That's what I'm talking about. Take a look at this clip right here. I'm sparring with my friend Nick, doing some MMA sparring, and I shoot for a takedown, and he ends up attempting a guillotine choke. He's got his arm around my neck, and so what do? I straighten out my head, neck, spine, and tailbone, and I fix my posture. So even though I'm down at this angle, my posture is unbroken, and as a result, I become unchokeable. And so I can squish Nick to the floor, pin his shoulders, and make sure that his guillotine attempt is worthless. And so I can sit there and smile, and I'm fine. And there's no blood restriction going on there because of good posture. Now, if I didn't squat and deadlift, there's no way I would be able to do that. He would have folded me right in half if I didn't have that type of postural strength. Strength combined with technique, invaluable. Technique is not a lack of strength. It is an intelligent application of strength and power. Remember that. Always remember that. Pull-ups. Why is that so important? And why did I just recommend 3 exercises? I mean, there are a bunch of great exercises out there, but if you're going to limit the movements you're going to do, and you have to, because with a 90-minute to 2-hour training session, you have to get straight to the point. You have to get it done quick. Pulling strength is one of the most important types of strength for fighting.
Oh, those are good.
For grappling and for striking.
Yes.
What's a punch? People think it's a push, pushing that fist forward. No, it's pulling the other side of your body back in order to drive that arm forward, to create that twist, to generate that power.
He's right.
How about grappling? You ever tried to do a snap down? If you're familiar with wrestling, do a snap down on somebody bigger and stronger than you, and you realized, wait a minute, I don't have enough pulling strength, even with proper leverage and technique and a good setup to make this happen. I showed a technique a while back. I don't remember which one. I've been doing a few technique videos lately. And somebody said something like, I don't think that would work on someone who is stronger than you. And I'm going to be really honest about jiu-jitsu technique. Jiu-jitsu specifically. There is a point where your technique will buckle and give way to strength with a lot of techniques. Not all, but a lot. The rear naked choke is one of those that'll kill anybody. If you get the correct position and put that squeeze on, you'll kill anybody. But, that's it. It was an armbar. It was a straight armbar from the guard that I showed off of.
How do you have good posture without flexing too much? It's like, feel like if it comes to T-posing pose, my triceps big. T-pose, what's a T-pose? Good posture. He's right. Ramsey is right about squatting and deadlifting. It's good for MMA. Yeah, developing your legs. What's not good is powerlifting every day. Those exercises is what I mean. Getting it done quick and doing large volumes of these exercises is what I recommend. So for example, just doing no weighted body weight squats, doing like 100 reps. That's more effective than trying to squat your 1 rep max. Deadlifting 100 times, just using the Olympic barbell, a 45-pound barbell, is more effective than trying to do your 1 rep max deadlift every day, which is what I see a lot of guys do at the gym. They try to go for the 1 rep max, and you notice their pattern. You notice that their pattern consists of resting a lot of downtime, just resting, sitting down, resting, and then they do the lift, a few seconds, and then it takes all the wind out of them, and then they start resting again, resting. You can't rest in a fight. You can't rest when a tsunami is coming. You can't rest when a bear is running after you. So I apply strength wisely and effectively when I'm training. So I don't have to go lifting heavy like 1 rep max. It's fun, yeah, but once in a while. I don't do that every day like most of these guys aim for. So for good posture, I would just recommend deadlifts and squats, yes, obviously, and back bridges, stretching. Lie down on the floor with your back flat on the floor, arms stretched, legs stretched. Just lie down. Heck, even sleep on the floor if you can. Try to take a nap. Just lying down on your floor at home. Okay, that'll straighten out your posture. That's perfect posture right there. Back bridges, neck bridges. You see like Mike Tyson doing those neck bridges. Yes, every boxer does that. That's good. Very good. And what Ramsey's talking about, like pulling. Everyone keeps thinking when you punch, it's this way, forward. It's always forward. But there's always a recoil. You've got to throw it and then bring it back. That bringing back is a pulling. So if you're a swimmer, you don't have to worry about this. You're pulling all the time. But you need to train the forward as well in swimming. How do you do that? You do that with weight training. Okay, you always the forward motion for swimming. For striking, it's the opposite. You got to train the opposite muscle, which is the pulling. Okay, so pull-ups, I recommend. Rows, I recommend. So yeah, he's right. I like Ramsey. He knows his stuff. And he's got a cool voice.
Of an overhook off of a whizzer. And it's a good technique. Sometimes you'll catch people with it, sometimes you won't. And this guy said, I don't think I could catch anybody stronger than me with this. And I would say yes and no. The yes being techniques like that work really well when there's about a 30% strength difference. Either way, if the guy's about 30% stronger than you can still catch him with that. If he's weaker than you, definitely. But if he's like twice your strength or 3 times or 4 times your strength, yeah, forget about it. He's probably going to rip that arm out, slime you, and beat the crap out of you. So, strongman. Strongman is interesting because of all the odd object lifting. And I like the idea of odd object lifting. Just picking up something cumbersome, oddly angled, and walking around with it. Because it triggers a bunch of muscles that you don't always use in your everyday life. And that's interesting. It increases your sense of proprioception. But again, not all strongman exercises or events or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, sleeping sideways. I sleep on my side as well.
Competition.
I'm fine with my posture.
So keep it simple. Squats, deadlifts, pull-ups, maybe pick.
I'm just hanging on a bar as well. Hang on a bar. Pull up, grab a pull-up bar, just hang on it. And just let your body just stretch. See how long you can hang for. That's awesome too. I sleep on my side because as lifeguards, we were taught that when you sleep on your back, when you're on your back, when a person's on his back, that person has more likely to swallow his own throat if he's unconscious, or if there's anything lodged in his mouth, airway, it's going to block the airway if a person is unconscious. So the first thing that we do when we see an unconscious person on the floor and they're flat on their backs is we roll them to their sides so that they can open their airway, get the tongue out. Because once you're unconscious, you lose control of your tongue, and then your tongue slips back. So there, fun fact: always sleep on your side to open your airway.
A couple others. Push-ups, man, that's good. Calisthenics are great. I've got a friend. He's been on my podcast.
Yep.
I've done some sparring with him.
Calisthenics.
Jawad Mahmoudi, and he's a really strong guy. He's a super athletic guy. And he never touches a weight, but he's huge on calisthenics. And he teaches this whole class at his gym on calisthenics, just body weight training. And yeah, I mean, the guy is ripped and he's stacked and he's strong and fantastic athlete. And that's all from calisthenics. So, yeah, another thing about calisthenics, which not everybody realizes, is that you have to really work at it. There's this great video series I saw. Man, I'm forgetting the name of the dude who put it out, but he's a big guy and he's got big muscles. He's got giant quads and big old biceps and stuff, and he doesn't touch weights. He's all about body weight exercises.
That guy.
And he basically says, yes, you can get big doing
Fitness
body weight
FAQs.
exercises, but you have to do
Aussie.
a lot more of them. Like a lot. So his workout routine, his calisthenics routine is crazy, man. It's crazy. So in a lot of ways, it's way easier just to pick up that big heavy weight because it essentially tricks your muscles into responding more immediately than, say, doing 1,000 push-ups or whatever it takes to make those muscles finally grow. Let me take a look at that question for a minute. Make sure I didn't miss anything.
I watch Fitness FAQ, some of his vids, and he's all right. He looks like a bodybuilder, but he does calisthenics only, he said. But I've seen him, squat with a barbell, use a squat rack and all that. He's okay. He's kind of too big for my taste. Like, his body is too big for fighting, and he doesn't have a fighting background. That's the problem. So that's a lot of problem. That's the biggest problem I have with calisthenics, is that you can get too big actually by doing calisthenics. I've seen a lot of big guys doing calisthenics, and they have sort of the similar bad habits as powerlifters. Is that they take a long break. They take long breaks between sets. I've seen it at the gym, because when they do, I don't know, their planche or front lever, it takes a lot out of them, and then what do they have to rest a lot. I noticed. So that's counterproductive when it comes to fighting. You need to be on your toes at all times. So, yeah, calisthenics is good to a point.
So, strongman, powerlifting. And the thing with powerlifting, the ultimate goal with that is to lift as much weight as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good goal, to have a high PR, be able to lift heavy things as heavy as you can. That's awesome. But how much does that translate into fighting? Some, I'm not going to say not at all, but some. But there are other things you can do. Muscle endurance is just as important, if not way more important, than that one max lift. Because you have to remember, a fight goes on and on. MMA fights for up to 25 minutes. Boxing matches for over half an hour. at the professional level anyway. If we're talking about a championship fight, regular fight like 15 minutes long in MMA. So being able to lift something really heavy once, yeah, that's not as important as being able to stay alive and stay in the cage and keep breathing under pressure of somebody trying to squash you to death for 15 to 25 minutes. So, yeah, being able to do a whole bunch of pull-ups is probably more important than being able to squat a really, really heavy weight once.
I agree.
However, if you can squat that really heavy weight once, you can squat lower weights. You can squat half that a whole bunch of times. So I guess what I'm trying to say right here is that there is no one perfect program. There's probably a perfect program for you specifically, but there are so many variables in the sport of MMA, and there are so many guys training in so many different ways. Some of them are just crazy nuts, the way some of these guys train, and I wouldn't recommend it at all. But keep it simple. Keep it consistent. That is more important than how much you're lifting or which lifts you're doing. Keep it consistent. My personal recommendation, 6 days on, 1 day off. 6 days of the week, you're in the gym, 90 minutes to 2 hours, constantly working strength and conditioning. 90 minutes to 2 hours, constantly working technique and sparring. 6 days on, 1 day off, rest and recover, get back to it. What do you do the rest of the day? You live your life. That's what you do. Thanks for watching. Now get out there and train.
You can train 7 days. As long as you're not killing yourself and you're diversifying. So, but I do agree with a lot of what he says. Ooh, Jocko.
What's your opinion on calisthenics versus weights?
Again, for me, both. I like them both.
Yeah,
You know,
both
with
are good.
calisthenics, you get that endurance strength. You get some flexibility and some mobility out of it. They're pretty natural movements, right? They're pretty natural movements. They're things that you're doing with your human body.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be more natural. Weights obviously make you stronger, more explosive. At a certain point, they also can be more injury inducing.
Sure.
And at another point, they're also less injury inducing. So there's a certain point where if you have an injury in your shoulder and you normally would do handstand push-ups, which means you're lifting up 230 pounds, well, with weight training, you could lift up 40 pounds if you want to, right? So it goes both ways, where sometimes calisthenics might be the more injury-inducing thing, and sometimes weight training might be the more injury-inducing things.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you got to balance the two of them, you know. And for instance, I hurt my ankle a couple months ago, and I could not put any weight on the squat bar, so I was just doing, you know, pistols and air squats, jumps and box jumps. You know, I was using things that didn't have any weight because I could do all that. But the minute I put weight on my back, you know, anything above body weight, it started to hurt.
Yeah.
And so I just needed to let that thing heal. And I used the calisthenics to get me there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the same exact opposite, I had my shoulder was tweaked 6 months ago. And I was having a hard time doing handstand push-ups because it was just the wrong angle. And so I was I was doing press with a lighter weight than my body weight in order to keep the blood moving, in order to keep the system moving, because that's what I think you got to do. So I think you got to find a balance of both, which means I'm not great at either one of them. I'm not going to win in any weightlifting competitions, and I'm not going to win in a gymnastics competition either. And there are some guys, especially now, I mean, there's some guys that are getting in sick shape. You know, you watch the guys in the CrossFit Games right now, they're savages, and they're doing both the calisthenics and the weightlifting. And actually, I was reading something about it the other day, and it's becoming more weightlifting focused. You know, whether it's Olympic.
What is
the CrossFit?
Okay.
I shouldn't say it's getting that more focused, but if you want to win the CrossFit games, you got to be able to lift some heavy weights. You got to be able to deadlift a lot, snatch a lot, clean and jerk a lot. And if you can deadlift a lot, clean and jerk a lot, and snatch a lot, you're going to be able to do, and at least you practice the other movements, the muscle up, the pull-ups. You're going to be much more apt to be able to do those things than the other way around. So, I mean, it's for somebody that can do a body weight snatch is more likely to be able to do 50 pull-ups in a row than somebody that's able to do 50 pull-ups in a row and that's their focus in life is able to automatically do a body weight snatch. I mean, it's just the reality of it. That's what I think right now. But the bottom line is on those, I use both of them. I like to try and find that balance, and I think I use both of them according to what my body prescribes me.
Jocko's interesting. He's got a military background, obviously, and I don't think he's good at calisthenics based on his body frame. He's more inclined towards lifting weights, heavy weights. But he's right about one thing. You should train around your injuries. Whatever you're doing, train around them. If you have a shoulder injury, then avoid shoulder exercises. And try it all. Use it all. Do powerlifting, do weightlifting, do calisthenics, do yoga, do swimming, do running, do boxing, do MMA, do kickboxing, do Muay Thai. Do it all. Okay? I don't condone any of them. Even bodybuilding has some merits. I mean, look at GSP. He doesn't have to lift all that weight, but he does it just to look good and feel good. So there you go. Use them all is what I'm saying, but use them all wisely and work around your injuries. Don't work against an injury.
What's up, Calisthenics athletes? It's Chris Heria. Welcome to another
Chris
video.
Heria.
Today, I'm going to be breaking down the benefits of calisthenics and why I encourage you to start. One of the first benefits of calisthenics is that it's convenient and easy to get started because most of the exercises do not require any equipment or a gym membership. Most of these exercises could either be done in your room or at a park nearby.
Or on the streets.
Another benefit is that most of these exercises are compound movements, meaning several muscle groups will be working together, which will lead to burning more calories if you're looking to burn fat and build lean muscle simultaneously. Another benefit is that when working with calisthenics, you're utilizing your body weight, at least in most cases, and all of these exercises stem from natural movements that also increase your flexibility and your range of motion. So when training calisthenics, the maximum overload you're gonna actually feel is the overload you technically feel every single day, which is your body weight. And what makes it difficult is the actual amount of body weight you're using, how you're targeting your muscles with it, what angle you're doing it in, and so forth. Whereas some weight training exercises may cause stiffness and joint problems because of the constant stress and overload that you put on your joints with weights. And to really make gains with weights, you're gonna need a whole bunch of weights, so have fun bringing that around with you. Whereas if your body is the weight and your body is the gym, then you're just walking around with 165 pounds to work with, or however much you weigh, which brings us to the next benefit, which is that it's fun. And not only is it fun, but you can basically do it anywhere. There's hundreds of movements and progressions to learn. Really, the only limit is your creativity. You can practice anywhere, anytime, and there are no age restrictions. So if you think you're too young, you're too old, you're too big, you're too small, there's no excuse. There's always progressions to get started, and you can always use a fraction of your body weight, and slowly over time you'll add more weight onto these exercises, going on to harder progressions, eventually utilizing your whole body weight in every rep and really seeing your body start to evolve. When you go to the gym, you have a whole selection of 5 to 10 pounds of how much weight you're actually gonna curl. When you come to calisthenics and you're doing real pull-ups, there's no option. You're pulling up your body weight every single time. You're not pulling 20 pounds, 25 pounds, 60, 80 pounds. Every single rep is gonna be your whole entire body weight distributed evenly between both arms every single time. And if you really wanna take it to the next level, you literally just take one arm away and you put all that weight onto one arm. And that's how you increase the overload with calisthenics versus going going into the weight room and just racking up a whole bunch of other plates. And at the end of the day, you're either gonna be racking on more plates or utilizing more of your body weight. Both of them are gonna get you in shape. But I'll tell you one thing, the person that's doing the one-arm pull-ups is definitely gonna be able to lift heavier weight, but the person that's lifting heavy weight is not necessarily gonna be able to do one-arm pull-ups. So with that said, I'm gonna show you guys some moves to get started in calisthenics and show you the evolution of how you can progress on and really benefit from all this, not just with a great physique, but also with great abilities and true strength. All right, so when you're just getting started to calisthenics, the first move you want to be doing for your chest and triceps is going to be push-ups. All right, so let's go for 20. So a lot of people neglect the push-ups because either one, they think it's too easy, mainly because of how it looks, or they'd rather be doing something else like bench pressing. And when it comes to the bench press, let's say they'll put a plate on both sides, that's probably gonna be about 135, and they'll do, how many reps do you think? 20 reps? I doubt it, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Another thing that you're not gaining from the bench press, that you're gaining from the push-up is one, a muscle-body connection. You're connecting all your muscles in your body and you're using your whole body to initiate this exercise, whereas when you're benching, you're lying down on your back, which is helping you focus more to target your chest and your triceps. But does that really help you in the long run? When you did your push-up, you're using about 75 to 80% of your body weight for 20 reps, and you're activating those deep muscle fibers, as well as gaining a whole lot of body control. And if you increase the angle and start leaning more forward, you're gonna start to put more and more weight onto your triceps and your chest. So if you wanna progress on with weights, you would just go ahead and add more weight. If you wanna progress on with calisthenics, you would go ahead and change the progression or change the angle or change the intensity. So after you've mastered the push-up, the next progression you would be going on to is the explosive push-up. Let's go for 15.
Yeah, that's what I do. Jumping push-ups. Very good for boxing. But I use my knuckles. Use your knuckles.
You can see there's a lot of things to be learned that you're not gonna learn from just adding more weight on the bench press. And if you try this while you're doing a bench press, I mean, that's super dangerous. I wouldn't advise that at all. So as you can see, when changing the intensity, how hard you're pushing, that's also gonna increase the overload on your muscles, even though you're using the same weight. And when training explosive and giving way more effort than you naturally would be in an exercise, that's gonna condition you to be super efficient at the normal way that you do that exercise. In other words, if you're exploding when you do push-ups than when you do normal push-ups, not only is it gonna be super easy, but you're benefiting from that explosive training as well as the absorption, the concentric part of this exercise. And with any calisthenics exercise, you can apply some explosive training to it. So you can either get in your car, drive to the gym, go to the bench press and add more weight, or you can just take your push-ups to explosive push-ups right here, right now. And what's after that? Well, once you're able to do explosive push-ups, eventually, with other progressions in the middle, you'll be able to apply all your body weight onto your chest and triceps, like the full planche push-ups.
I knew it.
Or you can do some of these. Woo! So you can either be benching or you can be doing that. I'm telling you, you're gonna have way more fun doing that, and I don't care how much you bench. You're not gonna do that if you don't train for it. All right, let's move on to another example to give you guys another comparison. When it comes to legs, whether you're doing weights or calisthenics, you're always gonna start off with squats, just body weight, because you need to learn how to do it properly before even adding weight onto it. So the very first step is gonna be just basic body squat.
Am I half white? Well, what makes you think that? Some nice squats, Chris.
With you right there. Okay, so once you mastered the squat, it's time to increase the overload. Now, when it comes to weights, you would begin to do barbell squats. And when you're first getting started, you're probably gonna be somewhere around a plate on each side, which is going to be 135 pounds. When it comes to calisthenics, like I said before, you can increase the intensity, the angle, the progression, and so forth. You can even subtract a limb to put even more overload, all your body weight onto one. So that's what we'll be doing now. So instead of increasing that overload with a barbell, which can actually lead to more problems in the future if you're not doing it correctly because of all that weight on top of your shoulders, spinal injuries, back injuries, so forth. For calisthenics, we're just gonna take out a leg. We're gonna be working out with the same weight, the same overload. We're just gonna isolate it to one limb. All right, so let's go for it. Pistol squat.
No, pistol squats. Okay, so what I want to say about what he's saying here. Planche push-ups is more fun than doing barbell bench. But barbell squats are more fun than doing pistol squats or regular bodyweight squats, based on my experience. And here's another thing that nobody tells you about calisthenics. Your body weight fluctuates throughout the day. So if you eat a full meal and then you start doing handstands afterwards, good luck. It's the worst feeling ever. Or say if you drink a lot and then you start doing body weight exercises, you're just a tub of water walking around. It sucks. So if you're going to do calisthenics, make sure you do it on an empty stomach or when you weigh the lightest or have no food in your body. Because that food is just added pounds added on. And it's not fun doing calisthenics with a full stomach. That's what he's not telling you. Or most people are not telling you about calisthenics. Calisthenics is a very small niche. It's just like the baby brother of gymnastics. People who can't do full-time gymnastics, who train to be Olympian gymnastics, do calisthenics. It's like the street version. And there are a lot of exercises that are borrowed from gymnastics that are just made easier. So for example, doing a planche using your hands on the floor is hard. But doing a Maltese on gymnastics rings is way harder. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Maltese is basically holding a planche using Olympic rings in the air. Way harder, totally different level. So, gymnastics people, I know people from gymnastics, they look at calisthenics like, oh, it's like a sub-niche, sub-genre, like a baby brother. In calisthenics, when they look at gymnastics people, they look up, oh my God, Maltese, or those flips that they do, whole nother level. But you got to think about it this way. Gymnastics people, they train intensely with a coach. And they pay to be at a center where they use equipments like gymnastic rings and pommel horse or the vault or the floor, bouncy floor, to do those exercises. Calisthenics, they don't have that luxury. They have to use a regular custom, a commercial gym, or get a pull-up bar for their home or practice in the park. So gymnastics requires more advanced equipment. It requires coaching. It requires a lot more hours spent in training. They train a lot more than calisthenics people. Way more. Way more. Think of gymnastics as full-time. Calisthenics is part-time. Okay, I don't care how many hours you train in calisthenics compared to gymnastics people. No. Those are part-time hours. Yoga. Yoga is good to a point. I don't do yoga for the sake of meditation or sweating, like hot yoga. No, I just stretch. To be honest, I just stretch. Get an intense stretch going. Try to increase my flexibility with my hamstrings, my shoulders, all this. Like you're using resistance band and you pull it behind your back. And then you do the pancake stretch. You do the side splits. You try to open up the middle splits. All of that. Golden Power Duo? I don't know about that. I've seen acro yoga, which is weird. It's like couples yoga. The boyfriend lies on the floor and the girlfriend tries to get into a handstand. They're holding their hands. That's weird stuff. I tried it once. Not my jam. So yeah, calisthenics is good to a point, but I don't dedicate my training 100% around it. No, I diversify. I use everything. What I say, I'm not condoning anything out there. I use them all. I try them all. I work around my injuries. Is what I'm saying. So I'm not like, oh, calisthenics is the best, or gymnastics is the best, or yoga is the best, or boxing is the best. No, nope. Each discipline has their strengths and weaknesses. I notice. You'll notice that, and you gotta use them all. Try them all. Pistol squats. I hate pistol squats. Torture. Pistol squats are not fun. Barbell squats are fun.
Alright, it's pretty simple. And as you can see, again, the calisthenics version, you have a lot more to learn, a lot more to gain than just simply doing the same thing and adding more weight. As you can see, when I do the pistol squat, I'm using a lot more of my core. My whole core is fired up. I'm using all my stabilization muscles. I'm increasing my balance, strength, and stability, working deeper into my muscle fibers, working more of that control all simultaneously versus just increasing an overload. And when you first get started, there's definitely a struggle to keep your balance, just to achieve a lot of the harder progressions as they go, and that's what makes it so fun, is that you're always constantly being challenged in new and different ways, depending on which progressions you go and what movements you're trying to master. However, for the legs, they do deal with your body weight every single day. You're walking around every day since the day you were born. So these muscles are gonna be able to take over a lot more of an overload than your upper body, which is why I still would recommend applying more weight onto yourself when working out legs, like using a weight vest, for example. And a weight vest is something that you can use for every single exercise in calisthenics. But it's not 100% necessary. You can still get into great shape and you can still get super strong with just
weight
body
vests.
weight. So how do you take this one to the next level? Well, we subtracted a limb, we changed the progression. Now let's change the intensity. So let's go for explosive pistol squats. Let's go for it.
Okay, so I've used weighted vests before in the past. I don't like them. I don't like wearing them. Here's the thing about weighted vests. You have to wrap them around your body very tightly, or else that weight's going to jiggle around, especially if you're going to go upside down or run, for example. You don't want that weight just bouncing off your shoulders. So it's very constricting. So it's cutting off your air supply at the same time that you're trying to exercise, which is what I don't like. It's like wearing, I would imagine that it's like wearing a cummerbund. You know, like those 18th century cummerbunds those women used to wear, just to really tighten their tummies. Just imagine wearing those and just trying to exercise intensely. It just cuts off your air supply. I just didn't like it. Yeah, corset. Sorry, corset. Thank you for correcting that. Thank you for that. It's like wearing a corset. I don't like them, and they stink afterwards. You're gonna sweat all over them, and you gotta throw them in the washing machine after. So you're gonna remove all the sandbags or the weight plates and all that. It's just annoying. It's annoying. There is an advanced weighted vest where there's just one giant plate you put in the front. It's very thin. That's more practical, but it's very expensive. Like over $200. I don't recommend it. Because, like he said, he's proposing that calisthenics is fun and it's free because you can work out in the park. No, not when you get a weighted vest. $200. You might as well just get a gym membership with that $200. It would give you like a year's worth of gym access. So weighted vests, I don't recommend. Whatever version you get, whether it's using sandbags or weighted plates, no, it's not good. I don't recommend it. It's if you're into CrossFit maybe, but for me, I tried it. I didn't like it. I tried so many of them. Didn't like them.
Those are pretty fun. You gotta try those.
He's got a nice dip bar in the back though. You see these? Those are the type of dip bars that are installed in parks and playgrounds. Okay, and they covered it with gravel, dirt, and sand and rock to cover this up. So I like this dip bar, but it's probably like $200. And he's got basically park equipment installed in his apartment.
All right, let's go for the next leg.
Let's get a squat rack.
Woo! So those are fun. So you guys get the idea. You can increase the overload and work on the same stuff for the rest of your life, or try something new, work into harder progressions, start learning more about your body, mastering your body, then applying more weight onto your body, taking it from there. Enjoy your training, have fun, take it anywhere, anytime, and you can get started right now. So thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed the
Okay, so there's a lot of things he's not telling you. I'll tell you it up. Straight up. Calisthenics is fun if you're good at it. Calisthenics is not fun when you're not good at it. In the beginning, you're going to suck. Nothing makes sense in the beginning. It's a long and steep learning curve for calisthenics. For most people. Like, think about it. How long is it going to take you to learn a muscle up properly? It takes you several months, hundreds of attempts. Just imagine. You can put a barbell on your back with plates, and you can do one set easily as a beginner, as a newbie. You go to the Smith machine, you can do it easily. Barbell squat. Anybody can do it. But not everyone can do a muscle up in their first go. So imagine failing a muscle up hundreds of times and not getting it until like maybe 3 months in. That's frustrating for most people. So that's why a lot of people can't do calisthenics. And people that attempt calisthenics give up so easily because it's a long journey. It takes a long time to learn calisthenics. Long learning curve. It looks cool. But again, if you can do calisthenics, yeah, you're like the top 1% of the people in your gym. Think about it. Count it. How many people in your gym can do a proper muscle up? Count how many people in your gym or your area can do a planche or a handstand. Less than 1% of the population, in my opinion. So, yep. My advice, if you want to learn calisthenics, is you have to be very patient. You have to be very patient, and you got to think long term. You got to think, oh, I'm going to be doing this for a year, and I'm not going to be good until maybe year 2, maybe year 3, year 4. That's how long the learning curve is going to be. Anyways, it's almost lunchtime for me. I'm getting hungry. So I'm going to stop the stream here. Thanks for watching. Watch it afterwards, and thank you for your questions. All right. All right. I'll talk to you later.